Holt Speaks. If you are new here, please like, subscribe, share the channel. I wanted to stop in today and discuss a couple of things, but before that, I always do my disclaimer. I do lean to the right. I am proud that I lean to the right. If you want to be deceived, go to MSNBC, get your news from there. But I try to be as fair as I can, but I definitely have leanings, and I don't want to deceive anyone into thinking that I do not. So I always like to start out my live streams by saying that. Welcome to anyone on YouTube. Welcome to anyone on Rumble. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Hopefully, again, if you enjoy the content, like, share, subscribe. This channel has been going on a journey through the history of Black America and all the things that have led us to where we are today. So I would like to talk today about some things that the president has done. I kind of did a pause to go over the assassination attempts, but I'm going to go back to the president and regular election coverage for now, unless something major breaks. Joe Biden, since the last debate, he looked like it was a disaster. He started to do his rounds now. And now he is engaging in Black media interviews. He did a speech before the NAACP, and I'm going to go over the NAACP speech. Before that, I want to talk about, I'm going to show a video that shows where the education system has led to right now. And that's going to lead into the NAACP speech, because he goes over some things and he talks about education. He talks about a lot. And yeah, I wanted to show this video before I even start, just so you guys understand where we are from an education system. I found this fascinating. I saw it come across one of my timelines. I think it was Instagram. Either way, I want to play this so you guys can see where our education system is and where Black America is. So that way, when he starts talking about where the NAACP has come from and how long it's been there, I want you to see the progress that they've made with our education system and their successful lobbying in the government. How you doing, Hassan? What's going on? So we're going to start off with these young ladies who won a national debate championship. Let me move this over.
Black women's team to win the Cross-Examination Debate Association's national championship. This morning we have two of the team members here. We have Amina Ruffin and Corey Johnson, both here to talk about the major victory. Ladies, way to go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You've made so many people proud in this area. Now we want to pick your brain a little bit as we admire your huge trophy, by the way. That's ridiculous. But I'm going to ask you first. We'll start with you, Amina. What was the topic, first of all?
The topic was restricting presidential war powers authority.
They say the nigga's always already queer. That's exactly the point. It means that the impact is that is an impact turn to the that it is a case turn to the affirmative, because we are saying that queer bodies are not able to survive. That it necessarily means that the body of the nigga is not able to survive.
We got the topic in about July, and we started doing our research then.
And when the nigga sees these pains and suffering, that he can only envision himself, that he does not see another nigga that he can feel sympathy for or embrace, but rather that otherness gets obliterated.
We've been supplementing our research throughout the season.
Man's photogenic object, disfigured, lynch, and trauma enough. The insight, the trauma, representation of that central to the Black child, devouring and identifying with the stories and images the white culture brought up to think and act. The way that the status quo works is through whiteness allowing, forcing other bodies to tell narrations of whiteness and the violences that whiteness does. We say that is the link that we will go for.
In order to prepare for it, because there are several different tournaments, and so being able to transition through each tournament.
Capture and separate from exposure to cultural representation of the white world, the cultural, remove the white world and sister, the child eye zone, and
able to respond to opponents' arguments.
On sexual trauma as a way of grounding its racist cultural fantasy, the cultural trafficking images of the Black man's photogenic object.
So just a lot of preparation.
Disfigured, lynch, and trauma enough. The insight, the trauma, representation of that central to the Black child, devouring and identifying with the stories and images of the white culture.
Reading of articles and books sports. And
they only recreate what it means to be an authentic nigga because we are not allowed to read certain things or speak in a certain way because we are seen as not truly speaking to niggas. But there's a question of who even wrote this shit.
all that good stuff.
Was there anything that threw you off during the competition? You know, something that someone are these
All right. So this is being celebrated on national TV. Actually, I think this was a local sports channel because it says Fox, and then it has the channel Fox 4 or whatever. This is being celebrated as an accomplishment. When you hear these young ladies, they can't articulate anything. They're stuttering. They keep saying, Now, I say, but I do that because I'm trying to think of something and not say the wrong thing on YouTube that'll get me not struck, but that'll impact my channel. And I choose my words because I think it's important to choose your words. So when I'm saying, I'm genuinely saying, these women just bragged about all of the training that goes into the cross debate or whatever they call it. And when you look at them, it legitimately looks like they are having a seizure. This is education in 2024. This is where we are right now. And my problem is, as Joe Biden goes out and starts pandering to Black America, he's bragging on our accomplishments. And then you look at this giant participation trophy over here to the left of that young lady or to the right of the screen. And that's where our educational system is right now. Not only that, they're cursing. This is nothing to be proud of. And I was hoping Mel W would come in because I wanted to see I wanted to hear his opinion on this because he's an educator. And this is the best that we have to offer in debate. I'm gonna play it again, and I just want to go through and listen to what they say.
are the first all-Black women's team to win the Cross-Examination Debate Association's national championship. This morning, we have two of the team members here. We have Amina Ruffin and Corey Johnson, both here to talk about the major victory. Ladies, way to go. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You've made so many people proud in this area. Now we want to pick your brain a little bit as we admire your huge trophy, by the way. That's ridiculous. But I'm going to ask you first. We'll start with you, Amina. What was the topic, first of all?
The topic was restricting presidential war powers authority.
They say the nigga's always already queer. That's exactly the point. It means that the impact is that is an impact turn to the that.
This is the nigga that's already queer, and then she starts stuttering. It looks like they're using a Walmart, one of those tubs that you pack stuff away for the spring. There had to be regionals. Actually, first of all, there had to be state, regional championships before you get to a national level. They're the first all-Black team, so this has to be a big deal. But why are they using the N-word? Why are they cursing? Why are they stuttering? Like, this is the best we have to offer in the country for debate and whatever grade level this is.
The point, it means that the impact is that is an impact turn to the that it is a case turn to the affirmative because we are saying that queer bodies are not able to survive. That it necessarily means that the body of the nigga is not able to survive.
And this supposedly has something to do with the president. Hold on. She said, I'm going back. She said, let's see. This is fascinating to me because I've seen this 1,000 times, and a lot of it I don't even understand what they're trying to say.
What was the topic, first of all?
The topic was restricting presidential war powers authority.
Restricting presidential war powers and authority. Now listen to the actual content because now they're going to start talking about queer and stuttering.
They say the nigga's always already queer. That's exactly the point. It means that the impact is that is an impact turn to the that it is a case turn to the affirmative because we are saying that queer bodies are not able to survive. That it necessarily means that the body of the nigga is not able to survive.
This is completely incoherent. She didn't say anything there. She won a trophy for this. She wasn't saying anything. I'm sorry. This is so incoherent. She's just rambling, and every now and then a word comes out.
The topic was restricting presidential war powers authority.
They say the nigga's always already queer. That's exactly the point. It means that the impact is not, that is an impact turn to the that it is a case turn to the affirmative, because we are saying that queer bodies are not able to survive. That it necessarily means that the body of the nigga is not able to survive.
We got the topic in about July, and we started doing our research then.
She got the topic in July. They started doing research to come up with this. This is the end result. Let's listen to the other one.
Research then.
When the nigga sees these pains and suffering, that he can only envision himself, that he does not see another nigga that he can feel sympathy for or embrace, but rather that otherness gets obliterated.
Presidential warfare powers. All I hear, this is the nigga, queer, This won a national championship. You know how embarrassed, if you're black, you have to be embarrassed by this. There's nothing to be proud of watching this. If this was my child, I would be embarrassed because, actually, there's no way this could be. Never mind. Scratch that. Scratch what I said. It's not possible. But let's listen to her again. This is the second one.
When we started doing our research then.
When the nigga sees these pains and suffering, that he can only envision himself, that he does not see another nigga that he can feel sympathy for or embrace, but rather that otherness gets obliterated.
That otherness gets obliterated. Again, the topic is presidential warfare authority or powers. They're not even on topic, but they won that giant trophy. That was weird. I got booted. Sorry. That was very strange. Let me go back to that. It's so hard to watch. For me, it's hard to watch. Hold on.
Are the first all-black women's.
Can you guys hear me? I don't know what happened right there. It just booted me. And I've seen that happen to people before, and I've had that happen one other time. That was just weird. But let me go back to the second young lady. This is so embarrassing. It's so cringe. Nah, we'll just go back to the first one. How you doing, Hap 305? He said this is wild. Listen to this.
It was restricting presidential war powers.
There it is again. Restricting presidential war powers. That's the topic. Explain how this has anything to do with the topic, please.
Authority.
They say the nigga's always already queer. That's exactly the point. It means that the impact is not, that is an impact turn to the that it is a case turn to the affirmative, because we are saying that queer bodies are not able to survive. That it necessarily means that the body of the nigga is not able to survive.
We got the topic in about July, and we started doing our research then.
When the nigga sees these pains and suffering, that he can only envision himself, that he does not see another nigga that he can feel sympathy for or embrace, but rather that otherness gets obliterated.
We've been supplementing our research throughout the season.
So there's a whole season of practice and studying. She said July, so that I assume it's been at least a month, because she referred to a full month. And this is what they came up with. And this is what they won with.
Men's photogenic object, disfigured, lynching, trauma enough. The insight, the trauma representation that central to the black child, devouring and identifying with the stories and images the white culture brought up to think and act. The way that the status quo works is through whiteness allowing, forcing other bodies to tell narrations of whiteness and the violences that whiteness does. We say that is the link that we will go for.
It's completely incoherent. I wish... Are there any other educators in here? This is so bad, and this is on the news representing you. If you're a parent, it represents you. To me, it's beyond sad. It's beyond embarrassing.
To prepare for it, because there are several different tournaments.
And they won. So, either they beat people who were really good, and they were just pushed through in DEI fashion, or the other people were worse than this. It's so bad. It's so bad.
And so being able to transition through each tournament.
Capture and separate from exposure to cultural representation of the white world, the cultural, remove the white world and sit to the child eye zone and
Able to respond to opponents' arguments.
Sexual trauma as a way of grounding its racist cultural fantasy, the cultural trafficking images of the black man's photogenic objects.
So just a lot of preparation.
Disfigured lynch and trauma enough. The insight, the trauma representation that turns into the black child devouring and identifying with the stories and images of white culture.
Reading.
And I didn't edit this. This is that Snowflake News is an IG channel, and this is real. When I first saw it, I was laughing because I thought it was like some kind of skit. And it was on the news. I looked at it. It was on the news. They just did a better job editing it and shortening it so I didn't have to play a whole long video. This is a real story.
Of articles and books. And
she read books and articles to come up with that gibberish.
They only recreate what it means to be an authentic nigga because we are not allowed to read. We are not allowed to read certain things or speak in a certain way because we are seen as not truly speaking to niggas. But there's a question of who even wrote this shit.
All that.
They're cursing.
Was there anything that threw you off during the competition? You know, something that someone.
Yeah, English threw them off. Anyway. I wanted to start with that because it just shows where we are right now in society. So when Biden goes to the NAACP and starts speaking about how good Black America is doing and how much he's done for us, I wanted to show that and keep that in mind as he talks about how great off or how well off we're doing. So yeah. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to stop it a couple times because there's a couple things that I want to point out that are flat out lies that he says. And let's move this over here so I can watch it. But yeah, so if that didn't break your brain, I guarantee you Joe Biden will. Let me open this up. And I'm not going to play the full 30 minutes. I'm going to go to about 10 minutes, 30 in. Because that's where, I mean, you'll get the gist of it. There. Share. Here comes Joe. And one thing I noticed is the sound was jacked. It was really bad, and no one ever fixed it. I looked for it on every network. And the sound was just terrible. The only people who had good sound was Fox, and I believe they had to send it to their people to jazz up the audio because it's really, really bad. So that is not my audio. This is just what the speech was, and nobody bothered to give it to a sound engineer to at least try to fix it for YouTube or for historical archiving purposes. No one will ever hear this speech sound good. It's really, really bad. So. It's not me. 4 more years.
Most of all for your friendship. Thanks to all the thousands of members across America. One of the most important organizations in our country. A special thanks, I mean sincerely, the members of Congress who are here, including Nevada's own Stephen Horsford, chair of the Congressional Black Caucus.
And this is supposed to be him clearing up and looking better than he looked during the debate. Just keep that in mind also, because you're going to notice random pitch changes, tone changes, and it's there's no rhyme or reason to it. That's the sound. That's just the sound. I don't know why it sounds that way. Like I said, I looked in multiple sources, and that's the sound. Can you hear it though? It's low, but that's how it is on every news network that I found. That's just how it sounds. It's really bad.
as so many members of the CBC members defended freedom, like Benny Thompson of Mississippi, Chair January 6th Committee. And the best friend anyone can have, Jim Clyburn of South Carolina. In case you didn't notice, Jim turned around for me. Look, in June of 1947, Harry Truman became the first president to speak at this convention. And he was remembered for a lot of things. With the help of the NAACP, he desegregated the military. He laid the groundwork for the civil rights agenda. He built upon President Kennedy by that. President Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 64, 60 years ago. Harry Truman was president. He was often counted out. He was also known for something else. The story goes, Truman said, "You want a friend in Washington? Get a dog." Guess what? After the last couple weeks, I know what he means. That's why it's so good to have girlfriends. I'm not being solicitous. I have real friends. So many of you had my back, but I think I've had yours as well. That's a couple dollar folks here still. One of my best friends, when I was a lifeguard in projects, he was, his name was...
He went back to the lifeguard story when he was a lifeguard in the projects. That's when he had his first run-in with Corn Pop, if you don't remember. That's also when he talked about having little kids rub his hairy legs. So apparently this guy was there, and he's in the audience today.
His name is Mouse. His
name is Mouse.
Projects. He was, his name is Mouse. I'll see you loyal as hell. I'm truly honored to be here. To be in this tense moment in this country. It is a tense moment. Just a few days after the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, we're grateful he was not seriously injured. We continue to pray for him and his family. It's time for an important conversation in this country. Our politics has gotten too heated.
Corn Pop was supposedly a notorious thug in Scranton, Pennsylvania, the projects, where he said he was a lifeguard. And he got into a Corn Pop, and he threatened Corn Pop, and that's how he earned the respect of Mr. Corn Pop. Apparently, Mr. Mouse was there with him, and he's now in the audience there. So that's to validate his story. That's who Corn Pop was. He's a big gangster in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
I said in the Oval Office on Sunday night, as I made clear throughout my presidency, we all have a responsibility to lower the temperature and condemn violence in any form.
So, as he's saying we need to lower the temperature, he starts screaming, and look at his face. He can't help himself. And he's going to do this randomly throughout the speech, where he just has an outburst while talking about lowering the tone in the country because someone took took several shots at his campaign foe.
You gotta remember, America not enemies, we're friends, we're neighbors, we're fellow Americans. Most importantly, let's fully and firmly reject not only political violence, but violence in any...
A lot of this is intelligible. I don't know if this was a written speech, but I doubt the speech writers could even tell what he's saying, and they wrote it. This is supposed to make him look better, and because he's been losing the black vote like a damn broken, he started going around and, like I said, doing interviews. He did a Lester Holt interview that I'll go over at some point. Maybe tonight. I don't know about tonight, but he thinks that this is helping. And he thinks that this is making him look good. Look at his face. I just paused it. This is him trying to cheer people up. This is him trying to lighten the atmosphere that he played a direct role in, by the way. But he thinks this is good. And I did a a whole montage of videos. Maybe I'll play that because he keeps talking about how he needs to tamper down the mood in politics today. But while he's doing it, he's screaming at us.
Kind, period, no exceptions.
No
I have to
exception.
say with one voice, the violence is not the answer. That's what we should rally around as a nation. That's the unity I'm talking about. Few organizations know that better than the NAACP. For the race riots in Springfield, Illinois in 1908, the NAACP was formed. That's what started it.
I'm pretty sure he was there in 1908. I think he was probably a spry young teenager.
You know the pain, the price of violence. You understand, if you're going to talk about standing against violence, you must stand against all violence. We're standing against violence perpetrated against presidential candidates in Pennsylvania. We're standing against all violence. Violence perpetrated against George Floyd in Minnesota. Against black veterans like police officers, Eugene Goodman, on January 6th. Black election workers like Kirby Freeman.
Pretty sure he just said black. Let me go back. Hold on 1 second. Because he's got to throw in the black lines in there because he's pandering to black people. I don't.
We're standing against violence perpetrated against presidential candidates in Pennsylvania. We're standing against all violence. Violence perpetrated against George Floyd in Minnesota.
That's a good trigger word.
Against black veterans like police officers, Eugene Goodman, on January 6th.
I believe Eugene Goodman is the person who shot a young lady during the Capitol riot. How was the violence perpetrated against him? He killed a woman. The only person who died on January 6th, no matter what you've heard, is a young lady who was on the Trump side. And they always say a woman was killed. She was a veteran. I don't know what he's talking about here. He's not making any sense. And I got into it with somebody in a chat, and they were saying, 5 people died. And I kept telling them, you're wrong. 1 person died. And then they started telling me about police who died. No, those police committed suicide. 1 died of, I believe, a heart attack or something along those lines. Either way, none of them died during January 6th. 1 person passed away, and they were not officers. She may have been a veteran. It wasn't who he's talking about. I don't know who he's talking about. What's going on, Biz? But no one died on January 6th except for that 1 young lady. So he's just making stuff up. Literally making stuff up. Let me go back just a little bit.
Against all violence. We're standing against violence perpetrated against presidential candidates in Pennsylvania. We're standing against all violence. Violence perpetrated against George Floyd in Minnesota. Against black veterans like police officers, Eugene Goodman, on January 6th. Black election workers like Kirby Freeman and Shane Moss in Atlanta. Like to stand against the violence and intimidation of white supremacy, the murder, innocent lives in the grocery store in Buffalo, New York when I went up there. Mother Emanuel Church in Charleston, South Carolina. To stand against the violence and murder of children in Sandy Hook and Uvalde. Concert goers in Las Vegas. This is on the street.
It's really hard to understand what he's saying. That the presidential audio does not help. This is the quality of a president of the United States speech. You can hardly hear it. Again, I checked Forbes, I checked C-SPAN, I checked ABC, NBC, CNN. They all sound exactly the same. Yes, I saw the 19. Yeah, he had a cough. Remember, they said that they did several tests, but whatever. It's another excuse to explain why he's trash. But listen to it. This is what he does. And this is supposed to make him look better and give American people confidence in him. Now, they got a week or 2 before their conference. 2 weeks? Maybe 2 weeks. He's supposed to prove himself. And a lot of people think that if he can't prove himself, he will decide to step aside. But they say they want that until they run into the Kamala train. But anyway, let's go. Let's continue this gibberish.
across America that never make the news because you're involved every day in the communities across the country. You're going to be outspoken on one, don't be silent on others. We're going to speak about violence. We're going to speak about guns.
There we go. That's what he really wants to do. And I'm surprised it took him this long to bring up guns. Yeah, I'm really surprised. Usually they go straight to 2A, restricting my right and your rights.
More children in America die of gunshot wounds.
Why is he screaming? Out of nowhere, he just starts screaming. And he's got a bad habit of the whispering. How you doing, Miss Clara Booker? Sorry, I'm competing with the RNC. Yeah. Watch him just transform. There's nothing that triggers this. He just starts screaming.
Don't be silent on others. We're going to speak about violence. We're going to speak about guns. More children in America die of gunshot wounds than any other reason. That's stunning and that is sick.
That is sick. You know why it's sick? Because it's absolutely false. And to prove that it's false, I decided to do something. I don't know why he screamed. It's sick. Kids are dying. All right, let's go to the CDC. Yeah, that's exactly. He thinks being black is being loud, so he's trying to be like us. All right. Is this it? Here we go. So what he's referring to, he just completely made it up, by the way. And I'm going to prove to you that he just made it up. He said more kids are dying from gunshot wounds than anything else. So I decided, you know what? Let me go look that up. Can you see this screen? Yes, you can. Perfect. When you look at the actual stats, it says accidents. Can you see my mouse? I don't know if you can see my mouse. Yes, you can see it. It says accidents and unintentional injuries. All right? And then it gives some code. So I decided to look up the code because why not? Let's go look up the code. And it's hard to find information using the CDC because it forces you to hit a bunch of links. And yes, he has been telling that lie, and I'm here today to show you that he's a liar and prove that he's lying. Let's go back to the actual stats. So I found the correct tab chart, and let's look at it. Let me move this out of my way. Let me get rid of that one. All right. This is the chart. Let's do this. This is the table that shows the information. The last census was done in 2020. This came out in 2021. These are the numbers that he's talking about. These are the codes that were on that table. So if you can see, the highest number on this table is not gun wounds, but drug poisoning. That's weird, because he just said more kids die from guns than anything else. Did you guys hear that? I heard that. The number 2 are falls. Kids fall. From however they fall, they fall. There's more more kids who die from falling and drug poisoning than guns. Number 3 is motor vehicle traffic. Accidents. He just said more kids die from gunshot wounds than anything else. Now we get to guns, firearm related, but if you look carefully, it says suicide and self-harm. Is that the gun's fault? Do you think they would have found another way to commit suicide? He just said the number one kids are dying from guns, and he screamed it emphatically, and idiots just started clapping like seals. Lies. 100% false. Now you go to homicide and you have 14,000. I'm not saying 14,000 is good, but I am saying he's 100% lying. This is it right here, people. This is what he's referring to. This is the government saying it. This, oh, you can't see the tab. This says cdc.gov. There is a black breakdown of it, and it is true. More black kids are, but they don't talk about the perpetrator. Why? Doesn't fit their narrative. They also don't talk about the location that it happens, because it happens in all Democrat cities. So when you see numbers like, when you see the real numbers and you're like, well, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense. There are more numbers on this side, but these numbers over here are non-specific injury mechanisms. So it's kind of like when you would die of diabetes and they chalk it up to COVID. There's more than one thing that caused the death. And over there, the numbers are still lower than the hard numbers. This is 13,000 versus 14,000. That's why I'm ignoring this side. Yeah, he just outright lied. And that's okay, I guess. I guess that's normal for a president to just sit there and bold-faced lie and have people clapping to it, all under the ruse of we need to get rid of guns. Let me play what he said again as he screamed randomly. 100% false.
We're going to speak about violence. We're going to speak about guns. More children in America die of a gunshot wound than any other reason. That's stunning, and that is sick.
That is sick because you're lying.
And it's sheer cowardice if we do nothing about it. So, you want to stand against violence in America and join me in getting these weapons of war off the streets of America.
Getting guns off the street of America. He calls them weapons of war. It's okay to have weapons of war and go to Ukraine, but never mind. He doesn't want to get them off the Ukraine streets.
AR-15 was used in the shooting of Donald Trump. This was an assault weapon that killed so many others, including children. It's time to outlaw them.
I should have pulled up a chart. AR-15s are the least used weapon in American gun violence. It's actually handguns, sidearms, by far. It's not even close. So that's another lie. I guess facts don't matter to this guy, and it doesn't matter to the people in the audience.
I did it once, and I will do it again. Now, just because we must lower the temperature, our policies are really too.
So I'll see it a little bit clearer. Just to lower the temperature after he just got through screaming at the top of his lungs. I kind of want to play that other video that I made about the violence and him talking violently about Trump and Democrats and MAGA.
It doesn't mean we should stop telling the truth. What you've done, what you'll do, that's fair game. As Harry Truman said, I've never given anyone hell. I just told the truth and they thought it was hell. That's what I'm going to do.
You understand he just said he was going to lower the temperature, right? He literally just said he's going to lower the temperature, and he's still screaming. This is insane. This is a speech that's supposed to show that he is cognizant, that he knows what's going on, that he is functioning on all cylinders.
We're going to speak about violence. We're going to speak about guns. More children in America die of a gunshot wound than any other reason. That's stunning, and that is sick. nothing about it.
Now, we're going to lower the temperature.
So, you want to stand against violence in America and join me in getting these weapons of war off the streets of America.
Insane.
AR-15 was used in the shooting of Donald Trump. This was an assault weapon that killed so many others, including children.
AR-15 is not an assault weapon. Again, he's just lying. And I was on a panel earlier and I brought that up because somebody else said that. That's how you know somebody doesn't know what they're talking about. An AR-15 is not an assault weapon. I'm doing my best joke, but it's not an assault weapon. It's a weapon of war! This dude is insane.
It's time to outlaw them. I did it once and I will do it again. Just because we must lower the temperature, our politics and raise violence, it doesn't mean we should stop telling the truth. Just because we must lower the temperature, our politics and raise violence, it doesn't mean we should stop telling the truth.
Do you know what he just said? The child's supposed to get advice to telling the truth. I understood the last few words.
Now, just because we must lower the temperature, our politics and raise violence, it doesn't mean we should stop telling the truth. Who you are, what you've done, what you'll do, that's fair game. As Harry Truman said, I've never given anyone hell. I just told the truth and they thought it was hell. That's what I'm going to do. There is the truth about why Donald Trump's presidency was hell for Black America. He tried to repeal Obamacare. He kicked millions of Black Americans off their health insurance. He had a $2 trillion tax cut. But overwhelmingly benefited the super wealthy, the biggest.
I was kicked off of my health insurance when the Affordable Care Act was implemented. My company did not meet their standards, and the insurance policies that we got kicked off, and we got forced to pay more money for less coverage. This drove my wife crazy. She was furious. That may have been the time where she finally started turning around and saying, you know what? I don't like this. Because our insurance went up dramatically for less coverage. My company had to dump the plan that I had previously had, which already wasn't the greatest. It was a good plan, but the Affordable Care Act hurt me. But I guess I don't count. Oh, I know what it is. I don't vote for him, so I ain't black.
Corporation and exploded the federal debt larger than any one president has in one term. We have no room for us to do what we should be doing. Invest in things that affect people's lives, like child care, elder care, and so much more, that grow the economy.
Why is he screaming? I've never heard somebody scream while saying child care.
This mismanagement of the pandemic was especially devastating to Black.
This mismanagement of the pandemic. That's what I heard. Hold on.
Child care, elder care, and so much more, that grow the economy. This mismanagement of the pandemic was especially devastating to Black.
Mismanagement.
Oh, I know that other countries, other communities would call it. That economic crisis drove up black unemployment, decimated small black businesses, and you peacefully protested George Floyd's murder. Donald Trump called for the National Guard to go after him.
Did you hear what he just said? Did you hear what he just said? Small black businesses. Keep that in mind.
George Floyd's murder. Donald Trump called for the National Guard to go after him. What the hell's the matter with this man?
Right. Again.
Grow the economy.
Listen.
This mismanagement of the pandemic was especially devastating to black communities. Oh, I know that other countries, other communities would call it. That economic crisis drove up black unemployment, decimated small black businesses.
Small black businesses. All right.
And you peacefully protested George Floyd's murder, Donald Trump called for the National Guard to go after him. What the hell's the matter with this man?
When you peacefully protested, Trump called for the National Guard. Let's look at this, shall we? This dude is unbelievable. Let's see. Dang, I only have one. So I tried to do a compilation of videos and I forgot about that. For whatever reason, I couldn't get it to render, so I only have 35 seconds of a video.
Despite the fact that more than
it's going to serve its purpose. Let's go. Here we go. This is what he's talking about. The peaceful protest.
Nationwide unrest sparked by the police killing of George Floyd could lead to the highest insurance payout of its kind in history. The protests in late spring were mostly peaceful, but damage from looting and arson will cost $1 to $2 billion in claims. That's according to the Insurance Information Institute, and that would eclipse the previous high, the 1992 riots that followed the acquittal of 4 officers in the beating of Rodney King.
So, mostly peaceful, but still the most damage in the history of the country of $1.4 billion, $1.3 billion in damage. That's mostly peaceful. That's what he just said, that she just said.
The pandemic was especially devastating to black communities. Oh, I know that other countries, other communities would call it. That economic crisis drove up black unemployment, decimated small black businesses, and you peacefully protested George Floyd's murder. Donald Trump called for the National Guard to go after him. What the hell's the matter with this man?
Maybe this man saw $1.3 billion worth of damage being done across the country. Maybe that's why he was calling for the National Guard.
I'm serious. Go figure. A guy who submitted the birth of his lie against Barack Obama saying he wasn't born in America and he wasn't a U.S. citizen. Of course, here's what he thinks of black jobs. I love this phrase, black jobs.
So I've heard a lot of black people complaining about this. I've seen them complaining about black jobs. But you just heard him say black businesses. What is the difference? Why is it bad to say black jobs, but it's not okay to say black businesses? So I did a little Google search. Why is it bad to say black jobs, but not black businesses? What is the difference? Is it because we don't own the job? Is that why? I've seen they act like it was racist of Trump to say black jobs. But here you have all these people saying black businesses. This one's especially interesting. Oh, I can't blow it up. Crap. This is from the black. Oh, I can't see it. It's too small. That one. Ah, crap. I can't see it. But I just think it's interesting that we have a problem with Trump saying black jobs, but we say black businesses. He just said black businesses. What's going on, Bolo? Why is it a problem to say black jobs? How is it racist to say black jobs? Can somebody help me out here? Is it really racist, or is it just an excuse to say I don't like this guy? This is the BLM website, by the way. Backing black business. Is that racist? I don't think saying black jobs is racist. I don't think saying black businesses is racist. It's a stupid talking point. I hope people stop using that. It's absurd. And every time they use it, they show that they really don't. It's just because it's him. It's the only reason they hate it. Why can't I see that one? I need to see that one. I really do want to see that one. Because that one was the most important one. Ah, crap. I can't open it. All right. Oh, yeah, I can. Cool. All right. Let me look at this again. This is the U.S. Black Chambers, Inc. and they donate to black businesses. Is that racist? American Express? Is that racist? Why is it racist to say black jobs? It's an excuse. They don't like Trump. That's what it all comes down to. That's the reality of it. And they're pretending to be outraged because Trump said it. They're okay when Biden just said black business. They're okay when they say black businesses. But if you say black jobs, now, whoa. Easy there, Tiger. How dare you? If they're not upset about them voting out affirmative action, then they should be quiet about black jobs. Black jobs, you can't be offended by that and be okay with black businesses. You just can't. It's absurd.
Tells a lot about the man and about his character. Folks, I know what a black job is. It's the Vice President of the United States.
Why did he scream that?
American history. You're doing one hell of a job. I nominate the first black woman to the United States Supreme Court.
Black people, why is this working? Why is this working? Why are they all cheering this? I don't understand this. I genuinely don't understand why they're cheering this. Because they will openly say, yes, it was better under Trump, and then they're cheering a worse time because he put people in office that nobody knows. Kamala's terrible at her job. She's the border czar, by the way. So she's overseeing the biggest influx of illegal immigration in the history of the country. But she's black.
I promised myself, I promised America, my administration would look like America. I'm proud to be the most diverse administration in all of history and tackling the full talents of the nation. That's who we are. These guys don't get it. That's why we're so successful. I'm serious. That's what makes us the greatest nation on earth. It's not hyperbole. Folks, it's because of you. I'm President and Kamala Harris is Vice President.
So they're to blame. So as he talks about this inclusive stuff, keep in mind the Secret Service, the head of Secret Service, hired on, or her goal was to have 30% of the Secret Service women. That was her goal. And we saw what happened. And I'm not blaming women. I'm just saying the women who were on the Secret Service were definitely not capable of protecting the president. They weren't capable of even covering the president. They did not know what to do. They didn't even know how to holster their weapons. This DEI, this equity stuff, it doesn't mean anything. It should be merit-based. Otherwise, what is there to cheer? They have the same skin color as you. How is that a celebration? I don't understand.
She's not only a great vice president, she could be president of the United States.
That's all it takes. I'm going to put up that Lester Holt. He just kept going on and on, screaming, rambling for absolutely no reason. Fascinating stuff. Absolutely fascinating. I want to look at Lester Holt because that interview was good too. And again, keep in mind, he's trying to show the country that he is all there. His capacity is all there. And he's completely capable of running the country, even though he's not completely capable of standing trial for being incompetent and negligent for the documents that he had. Now, Trump won the case. He probably won several cases, but the main one was his claim and his petition was that, hey, if I'm operating in a presidential capacity, I have immunity. The Supreme Court agreed. They dropped his case. They're going to drop most of the cases because he was president when they went after him. Joe Biden was not president when he had his classified documents. Some of them were, but most of his classified documents came from when he was a senator. He doesn't have immunity. That's why they said, you know what? He's not capable. He doesn't remember anything. He doesn't remember when he's a senator. Now, they can hold him accountable for now, but they just now deemed that a president has immunity. His flaw had nothing to do with being president. It had to do with being a senator. So what do? He's too old. 4 more years. So he's too old to remember when he was vice president, but he can do a great job as the president for 8 years. Even though he doesn't remember when he was vice president. He didn't even remember when he became vice president. That's how bad his faculties are. But they're okay with him running the country. I find that interesting. Phoenix Rising said, just a form of brainwashing. If they hype this up, most people will vote for him because it seems like a popular thing to do. Yeah, I don't think as many people are falling for this nonsense as we would have in the past. Because we remember 3.5 years ago. We remember where we were, and we know where we are now. And it is not a good place. It's just not. Let's go back here. Still look at old Joe. This is his Lester Holt interview. He messes up quite a few times. It's the first time in a real interview where somebody actually pushes back. Even though Lester Holt he's a nice guy and he doesn't push back hard, at least he gives some kind of pushback, and you'll see it immediately frustrates Biden.
You spoke to Mr. Trump afterward. Can you give me a sense of that conversation?
Very cordial. I told him how concerned I was and wanted to make sure I knew how he was actually doing. He sounded good. He said he was fine. And he thanked me for calling him. I told him he was literally in the prayers of Jill and me. And I hope his whole family was weathering this.
You were in Delaware when this happened. What was your first reaction?
My first reaction was, my God, look, there's so much violence now, the way we talk about it. I mean, the whole notion that there is this, there's no place at all for violence in politics in America. None.
You know what? Let me pull this up. Because this is, every time I hear him speak, I get annoyed. Where's that video that I made? I want to find his fake call for peace. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but just to contrast what he's saying here. I made this video.
My fellow Americans.
I made this video about his speech. Most of you probably have seen it, but if you haven't, listen to what he's saying now about the violence and how terrible it is. This is him addressing the nation right after, well, not right after, a day after Trump got shot.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics. And to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies.
And I took all his own words, State of the Union, and which was earlier this year, and then this, and then I took some clips and I just put them together.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Take him out now. Okay.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
We're neighbors, we're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. We must stand together. Yesterday's shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania calls on all of us to take a step back, take stock of where we are, how we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. I'd like to take him behind the gym if I were in high school. If we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. No, I wish we were in high school, I could take him behind the gym. Earlier today, I spoke about an ongoing investigation. A former president was shot, an American citizen killed, while simply exercising his freedom to support the candidate of his choosing.
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
We cannot, we must not go down this road in America. We've traveled it before throughout our history. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country. Violence has never been the answer. Whether it's with members of Congress of both parties being targeted and shot, or a violent mob attacking the Capitol on January 6th, or a brutal attack on the spouse of former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi.
I don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be. You got to be ready to throw a punch. You have to be ready to throw a punch. Our mission is to fight. That is the guiding purpose of House Democrats, fighting. He has never forgotten who he is fighting for. Marched and fought, and we just have to fight. But this is a fight for our country. People will do what they do.
People will do what they do. So again, when he talks about the temperature, who's responsible for it? What do you, if you keep calling people an existential threat to the country, why are you saying that? And who are you saying that to?
Zero. And we've reached a point where it's become too commonplace, not assassinations, but to talk about it. For example, you know, the January 6th, the attack on the Capitol. Lester, I got in this race early on in 2020 for the 2020 race. I wasn't going to run again because I lost my son. I didn't feel, and until I watched what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. Those folks coming out of the woods with torches, carrying swastikas, singing the same Nazi bile, was accompanied by the Ku Klux Klan and a young woman.
He's made this story up. He keeps repeating it. It keeps getting debunked, and he keeps repeating it. And I don't know why anyone allows him to do this. At some point, somebody should say, hey, that didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Who was killed. And it was a bystander. And the then president was asked, what do you think? He said, they're very fine people on both sides.
He said there are very fine people on both sides in reference to statues, Confederate statues and monuments. He's just making this up. Now, somebody was killed, but he's taking a whole bunch of things, putting together, and just lying, making up a story.
Not fine people on both sides. No excuse, zero.
Well, let's talk about the conversation this has started, and it's really about language, what we say out loud. And
man, Lester, when your hairline gets like that, dude, you just take it off, bro. I like Lester Holt. He's a nice guy, but what are we doing here?
Really about language, what we say out loud, and the consequences of those. You called your opponent an existential threat on a call a week ago. You said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye.
See, he's not used to getting real questions like this, which is why I really liked that Lester Holt did this.
There's some dispute about the context, but I think you appreciate that.
I didn't say crosshairs. I was talking about focus on. Look, the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was there was very little focus on Trump's agenda.
Yeah, the term is bullseye.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on him. Focus on what he's doing. Focus on his policies. Focus on the number of lies he told in the debate. Focus. I mean, there's a whole range of things that, look, I'm not the guy that said I want to be a dictator on day one. I'm not the guy that refused to accept the outcome of the election.
When Trump said he wanted to be a dictator for a day, he was talking about executive orders or executive actions, legal executive actions. Again, he keeps repeating stuff, and people believe it because I've seen people say this stuff in chats. So it's clearly working, but it's just not true.
I'm not the guy who said that one accept the outcome of this election automatically. You can't only love your country when you win. And so the focus was on what he's saying, and I mean, the idea.
But have you taken a step back and done a little soul searching on things that you may have said that could incite people who are not balanced?
Well, I don't think, look, how do you talk about the threat to democracy, which is real, when a president says things like he says?
He's doubling down. In my video,
there's no place in America for this kind.
In my video, right around here, let's see.
Be treated with dignity and respect. MAGA Republicans look at America and see carnage and darkness and despair. They spread fear and lies. Lies told for profit and power. And hate must have no safe harbor. Here in America, we need to get out of our silos, where we only listen to those with whom we agree.
And every day I'm in the United States.
Start something new, and we can fight.
From here out, it's going to be all Joe Biden.
To fight an administration.
That's the American we must be. An American democracy where arguments are made in good faith. The MAGA Republicans believe that for them to succeed, everyone else has to fail. Look, let's never lose sight of who we are. Let's remember we are the United States of America. There is nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. I led the fight and continue to fight. Never, never, never give up this fight. I am a citizen fighting for it. It means not only fighting a leader who fought for progressive change, as a lawyer who fought for people his whole life, as well as other fights he's in. I'm proud that to have Tim in this fight with me. And above all, it's time for America to get back up. And once again, fight. God bless you all.
So he's saying, how do you say these things without saying them? How about you just don't say them? That's the easiest thing to do. You don't have to lie. He's clearly lying. And now he's making excuses for it. He's doubling down. You want to see? Let's see. This guy. Right here are Biden's tweets. And all of these tweets, dating back to 2022, say that he's the greatest threat. MAGA is the greatest threat. Donald Trump is the greatest threat to American democracy. That's what all of these say. Let's make it a little bigger. Doesn't make it that much bigger. That little highlight, those are his phrases. Greatest threat, greatest threat, greatest threat. How is anyone supposed to take that? So Lester Holt asks him, and what does he say? Well, he is the greatest threat. Okay, so you have no issue with what you've done. You're doubling down. AOC, right after Trump was shot, she doubled down. If you're a senior Democrat that feels this way, which is they're talking about toning down the rhetoric, you should absolutely retire and make space for true leadership. She's doubled down. She's doubling down. All of them are doubling down. This is Jake Tapper talking. They have no plans on changing the rhetoric, which is good. America can actually see them. But for him to be talking like this it's outrageously hypocritical.
It's not saying anything because it may incite somebody?
Yeah.
Look,
exactly.
I've not engaged in that rhetoric.
He is not engaged in that rhetoric. I just showed you him talking about punching Donald Trump, wanting to fight Donald Trump, taking him behind the school and beating the hell out of him. Is that not violence?
I've not engaged in that rhetoric.
He's not capable of holding himself accountable or taking personal responsibility for anything. He's blaming Trump for what happened. He's blaming MAGA Republicans. He's not blaming the left at all because he's scared of them. And this is completely disingenuous. Why come forward and say we need to tone it down if you're only talking to the people that you've been threatening for 3.5 years?
Now, my opponent is engaged in that rhetoric.
See?
He talks about there'll be a bloodbath if he loses, talking about how he's going to forgive all those, actually, I guess, suspend the sentences of all those who were arrested and sentenced to go to jail because of what happened in the Capitol. I'm not out there making fun of, like, remember the picture of Donald Trump when Nancy Pelosi's husband was hit with a hammer, joking about it.
This doesn't sound like you're turning down the heat, though. You've talked about the
No. Look, what I'm turning down, we have to stop the whole notion that there are certain things that are contrary to our democracy that we're for.
So this is a double down. Salute to Lester Holt for asking the question and following up. So you're not sorry for the rhetoric that's been used. You're only pointing at Trump, and you're essentially blaming Trump for getting shot.
The idea of saying that I didn't win the election when every court in the land, I don't know, 20 appeals said, and including this conservative Supreme Court, said we won.
So to him, saying I won is tantamount to treason, and you're inciting violence. Even though he just admitted that they went through the courts. How is that? How does that equal getting shot?
The idea of having a loyalty pledge from all the folks who are in a Republican MAGA, not all Republicans, the MAGA Republicans, saying that, no, we lost the election, inflaming the people and say,
So he stopped because nothing was said like that. Inflaming the people to say what? And Lester's going to follow up again.
Saying that, no, we lost the election, inflaming the people and say,
So what can you and what will you do, at least things you can control, to lower down the temperature, the rhetoric out there?
Continue to talk about the things that matter to the American public. It matters whether or not you accept the outcome of elections.
He's tripling down now.
It matters whether or not you, for example, talk about how you're going to deal with the border instead of talking about people as being vermin. And those things matter. That's the kind of language that is inflammatory.
He's 100% blaming Donald Trump for the rhetoric that got Donald Trump shot. That's what he's doing. There's no other way to take this.
Mr. President, you've been in politics a very long time, so let's speak frankly. We're all adults here. Has this shooting changed the trajectory of this race?
I don't know, and you don't know either.
I don't know, but have something you've given thought to?
No, I've thought less about the trajectory of the case than two things. One, what his health is, that was secure, number one. And number two, what happens from here on in terms of the kind of coverage that the president and vice president and former president and new vice president get in terms of, look, I've never seen a circumstance where you ride through certain rural areas of the country and people have signs.
So I don't know if you've seen this, KB, but this dude is blaming Donald Trump and the right for Donald Trump getting shot. He's blaming their rhetoric. This is unbelievable. He's doubling down, tripling down. Every time Lester asks him a question, he veers it back on Trump.
There stand big Trump signs with a middle sign saying F Biden, and a little kid standing there putting up his middle finger. That's the kind of stuff that is just inflammatory and a kind of viciousness. It's a very different thing than to say, look, I really disagree with the way he takes care of taxes, the way he wants a $5 trillion tax cut for people who make a lot of money next time around. Doesn't focus on working class people.
But those are policy issues, and our history is a country that can thoroughly hash out those issues.
And if you notice, what do I talk?
I'm gonna play something just for you. Thanks for coming over here, man. Did you see the video that I played on the inflammatory things that was said by the left towards Trump, KB? If so, I want to show it to you because it's pretty incredible what he's done. So if you have, I won't replay it, but if you haven't seen it, I'm going to play this whole video just for you. And it's, okay, watch this. If you have a second, watch this. Because this dude is unbelievable. And I'll send this to you if you want. But this is, well, I'll show you. He did a speech calling for peace after Trump got shot, and I made a compilation of videos, and it's all the opposite of what his speech was saying, and you'll see what it is. But it's incredible, and I'll make it bigger.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics, and to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Take him out now.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
We're neighbors, we're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. We must stand together. Yesterday's shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania calls on all of us to take a step back, take stock of where we are, how we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. I'd like to take him behind the gym if I were in high school. If we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym. Earlier today, I spoke about an ongoing investigation. A former president was shot, an American citizen killed, while simply exercising his freedom to support the candidate of his choosing.
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
We cannot, we must not go down this road in America. We've traveled before throughout our history. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country. Violence has never been the answer. Whether
This is their words. There's nothing altered here.
with members of Congress of both parties being targeted and shot, or a violent mob attacking the Capitol on January 6th, or a brutal attack on the spouse of former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi.
I don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be. You got to be ready to throw a punch. You have to be ready to throw a punch. Our mission is to fight. That is the guiding purpose of House Democrats, fighting. He has never forgotten who he is fighting for. Marched and fought, and we just have to fight. But this is a fight for our country. People will do what they do.
There's no place in America for this kind of violence, for any violence, ever. Period. No exceptions.
Oh, man.
We can't allow this violence to be normalized.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
But I thought he should have punched him in the face.
Feel like punching him.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Please, get up in the face of some Congress people.
Just a warning to you Trumpers. Be careful. Walk lightly. And for those of you who are soldiers, make them pay.
You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards. Trump and the extreme MAGA Republicans quote a clear and present danger to our democracy. We all have a responsibility to do that. Yes, we have deeply felt strong disagreements.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive? Continue fighting. We each have an important role to play in fighting. In this fight, like so many before it,
Unbelievable.
it has been a fight. The American people are going to have to fight. And about the importance of fighting, I will always fight. Fighting. But we always must fight. Joe Biden has a deep, deep-seated commitment to fight and to fight. And about the importance of fighting. We always must fight, to fight, to fight, and to fight. As our willingness to fight continued the fight. As Joe Biden says, to fight. It's about fighting of what we're fighting for. We will tell them about what we did to fight.
Really about a fight. But truly, I do believe that we're in a fight. I believe that we are in a fight. I believe we are in a fight. I believe we are.
It's the vice president, by the way. Vice president.
In front of us. A fight for all of these things. And so we're prepared to fight for that. We know how to fight. our ongoing fight a fight. We know how to fight. We like a good fight. We were born out of a fight. This is what is our fight. Requiring us to fight, and fight we will. Their fight. And their fight. And their fight. The fight is a fight. And so when we fight the fight that we are in, when we are fighting this fight, we fight this fight. The strength of who we are is we will fight. And we will fight. We will fight the fight. We will fight. We are in a fight. The fight. Fight. It is a fight. It is a fight. And it is a fight born out of patriotism. This is a fight. Fighting. I say fight on, fight on, fight on, fight on.
I've said it many times.
Crazy.
That the choice in this election we make in this election is going to shape the future of America and the world for decades to come. But politics must never be a literal battlefield, or God forbid, a killing field. I believe politics ought to be an arena for peaceful debate. But while the threat to American democracy is real, I want to say as clearly as we can, we are not powerless in the face of these threats. To pursue justice, to make decisions guided by the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. We stand for an America, not of extremism and fury, but of decency and grace. We've told ourselves that American democracy is guaranteed, but it's not. We have to defend it, protect it, stand up for it, each and every one of us. This places an added burden on each of us to ensure that no matter how strong our convictions, we must never descend into violence. MAGA Republicans have made their choice. They embrace anger. They thrive on chaos. They live not in the light of truth, but in the shadow of lies.
This is a fight for our lives, the lives of our friends and family members and neighbors. It is a fight, and it is a fight that we're going to work to make sure continues. It's a fight. It is a fight. It is a fight, and that's what this fight is for.
So I'm telling all my colleagues, this is the fight of our life.
Whose side are you on? Who are you fighting for? We will fight back. We're not going to just take this lying down.
What we've got to do is fight in Congress, fight in the courts, fight in the streets, fight online, fight at the ballot box.
Fighting and pushing around the clock, fighting, continue to be brave and be strong and keep fighting. We're getting people engaged in the fight. We're fighting. We've got to keep fighting and keep focused. Continue to fight.
No violence on our streets. That's how democracy should work. We debate and disagree. We compare and contrast the character of the candidates. We're all called by duty and conscience to confront extremists who put their own pursuit of power above all else. We must be stronger, more determined, and more committed to saving American democracy than MAGA Republicans are to destroying American democracy. In America, we resolve our differences at the battle box. You know, that's how we do it, at the battle box, not with bullets. The power to change America should always rest in the hands of the people.
We'll also fight him and challenge him in every way that we can, in the Congress, in the courts, and in the streets.
You know, the path forward through competing visions of the campaign should always be resolved peacefully, not through acts of violence.
Fight. To fight. Fight against the Trump administration. Democrats are standing up to fight. We're in this fight in a serious way. It's your fight.
We're eager to take on this fight. Get in this fight, and we'll fight it out. I have taken on the fight.
As representatives for the people, as legislators here in the halls of Congress, our job is to fight.
Who has led us in this fight?
Is to fight for this fight.
So tonight, I'm asking every American to recommit, to make America. You
almost said it.
Think about it. What's made America so special? Here in America, everyone must be treated with dignity and respect. MAGA Republicans look at America and see carnage and darkness and despair. They spread fear and lies. Lies told for profit and power. And hate must have no safe harbor. Here in America, we need to get out of our silos, where we only listen to those with whom we agree.
And every day I'm in the United States Senate, I will fight.
And one of the things we do is should fight.
Because my constituents send me here each and every day
to fight.
We have been fighting this fight, and we need to be side by side so we can succeed. And so I hope that you will all join us in our fight. And if we fight, and as the next governor of Georgia, I will never stop fighting. We can show the old guard something new, and we can fight.
My fight, those fights, to fight an administration.
That's the American we must be. An American democracy where arguments are made in good faith. The MAGA Republicans believe that for them to succeed, everyone else has to fail. Look, let's never lose sight of who we are. Let's remember we are the United States of America. There is nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. I led the fight and continue to fight. Never give up this fight. I am a citizen fighting for it. It means not only fighting a leader who fought for progressive change, as a lawyer who fought for people his whole life, as well as other fights and I'm proud that to have Tim in this fight with me. And above all, it's time for America to get back up and once again fight. God bless you all. May God protect our troops.
So like I said yesterday, what do you think the outcome of all of that is? You have to have a motive. And you have to assume there's going to be something that comes out of constantly saying fight, 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 fight. There's a rule of threes that most people who've taken any kind of speech class knows. You only have to say something 3 times. If you say it twice, just don't forget to repeat it one more time. These people, they repeat it hundreds of times. And then going back to this, he literally is blaming Trump. And Lester Holt asked him, do you take any responsibility? It's all the rhetoric of Trump and the right that caused him to get shot. He's blaming Trump for getting shot.
Talk about with him the policy issues where he's dividing the country, the policy issues that relate to democracy.
Another question, if I can, about Saturday. Of course, the former president was wounded. One of his supporters died. A couple more people were seriously injured. Was this a massive security failure?
I have had 2 meetings in the Situation Room with all the intelligence communities, the FBI, Secret Service, et cetera, and I've asked for a totally independent analysis, and we'll see what happens when that comes back.
Do you have confidence in the Secret Service? Do you feel safe?
I feel safe with the Secret Service, but look, and you saw what we did see was the Secret Service who responded risked their lives in responding. They're ready to give their lives to the president. The question is, should they have anticipated what happened? Should they have done what they needed to do to prevent this from happening? That's a question that's an open question.
Is it acceptable that you have still not heard, at least publicly, from the Secret Service director?
Well, I've heard from them.
But have you heard from her publicly?
You see what Lester Holt just did for him? He just saved him. He said, I've heard from him. It's a woman. So Lester Holt, he very generously corrects him and says, oh, so you have heard from her? He doesn't know what's going on.
He's publicly from the Secret Service director?
Well, I've heard from him.
But have you heard from her publicly?
Publicly. I've sat down in a Situation Room downstairs with the Secret Service, the FBI, the national security agencies, the Homeland Security.
That kind of little subtle correction is why Biden has gotten away with what he's gotten away with all these years. He clearly said, I've heard from him. He doesn't even know who the Secret Service director is. So Lester Holt caught it and covered for him and says, oh, so you have heard from her. And he said it so Biden would know, even though he didn't catch it. I guarantee he didn't catch it. He has no idea what's going on. But that's the kind of little slick stuff that they do to make it seem like, oh, he's fine, he's okay. There's nothing wrong with this guy.
All the major elements. And there's 2 pieces of this, too. And it's not an excuse, it's just an explanation. There's a major piece of this relates to domestic, local law enforcement. They play a large role. And so there's the different I'm not saying they weren't competent either. I'm just saying it's a complicated process. And what has changed, by the way, Lester, is, you know me, I like to meet people. I like to walk out, shake hands, move, look at people in the eye, see what they're thinking. It's really curtailed that ability on my part and everybody's part. And so, because there's a heightened notion that when you say there's nothing wrong with going to the Capitol
See?
breaking in,
He's blaming.
threatening people.
He's still blaming Trump. He didn't answer the question. Nobody gets fired. Trump talked about this in the debate. He said nobody ever gets fired under this guy. So what are we doing here? Every time he's asked a question and trying to see if Biden would take any kind of responsibility, Biden flips it back and blames it on Trump. So essentially, you got shot because of his own mouth.
A couple cops dying, hanging up, putting up a noose, a gallows for.
No police died on January 6th. Not one. They're still peddling this lie. They all the people committed suicide. There was a heart attack. There was other issues. No police died on January 6th. Only one woman who was a Trump supporter died on January 6th. But facts don't matter to this guy.
Dump for the former vice president, and somehow then you say you're going to forgive people for that. You're going to pardon them. That was just a normal response. That is not. I have my entire career voted against and railed against and moved against the idea of violence is never appropriate. Never, 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 never in politics.
All right.
I just played 10 minutes of Democrats speaking violently, including him. He literally threatened to physically fight Donald Trump.
I want to ask you about some other developing news today, if I can. Judge Cannon dismissed the documents case, as you may have heard, in Mar-a-Lago. Can I first get your reaction to that?
I'm not surprised. It comes from the immunity decision the Supreme Court ruled on, and Clarence Thomas, in his dissent, said that independent prosecutors appointed by the Attorney General aren't legit. That's the basis on which this judge moved to dismiss.
That's not the basis. The basis is what I said earlier. Once Trump was deemed or was given immunity as long as he's acting in the role of the president, you cannot move forward with that classified documents case, which is what Trump has been saying since day one. Biden, however, was not president when he had his classified documents. He was a senator. And they didn't dismiss it. They said, yeah, he really messed up. But what did they do? He's too old. So we're not going to press charges. And here we are. He's running for president again for another 4 years. He's too old to remember when he was vice president, but he's not too old to run the largest business in the world.
And, but I had an independent prosecutor look at me. They spent months on my going through, and I was totally cooperative in and out of my house. And there were, I don't know, the last time in, there were like 10, 12 agents in my house for 9 hours unaccompanied, going through every single thing I had. That's appropriate. And they looked at me and concluded I didn't do a damn thing wrong.
100% false. Special prosecutor said he was 100% negligent. He was just not capable of withstanding trial.
But my generic point is that it's, well,
He just went blank.
the basis upon which the case was thrown out, I find specious because I don't agree with Clarence Thomas' dissent and or the Supreme Court decision on immunity.
In light of this decision, the delay in the Georgia case, the Supreme Court decision on immunity, which you referenced, the former president has seen a series of legal wins recently. You've actively campaigned on his legal woes. Can you do anything like that anymore?
Sure. I can talk about what I think is appropriate. I think the Supreme Court made a terrible decision. I think the justices he appointed have, in fact, been the most conservative. And I would argue, if you survey constitutional scholarship.
Ketanji was his appointee. Ketanji, what is a woman? I'm not a biologist, Brown. That's his appointee. It's not just Clarence Thomas. One judge did not make this decision. It's the whole Supreme Court.
They seem out of touch with what the founders intended.
Before this violent turn of events over the weekend, the talk, as you know, was about you and your future, if you should stay in the race. Your allies, James Clyburn, Nancy Pelosi, have kind of put it out there that they're waiting for your decision, giving you time to make your decision. What I hear from you is that you made your decision. Are you still comfortable in that decision? Has anything changed in the last several days?
No.
What do you make of people like Nancy Pelosi, though, who seem to be of the opinion that there is a window for you to make this choice? What aren't they getting?
Look, we knew this was going to be a close race from the moment he announced. The idea that we are in a situation where, if you look at all the polling data shows a lot of different things, but there's no wide gap between us. It's essentially a toss-up race.
Trump is winning in every single swing state. This is going to go to the point that I've been saying the whole time. Only Kamala can replace this man because she's on the ticket. If they go with Gavin Newsom or even Michelle Obama, they cannot use the money that they've raised for this campaign because Biden and Harris are on this ticket. All of the war chest, the DNC war chest, that they have over $200 million is theirs. It would be a campaign finance violation to move that money anywhere else. They can refund it, but that's it. They cannot reapply or reallocate that money to another campaign. So if they're going to run with Gavin Newsom, they lose $200 million and have to start over. Gavin Newsom is not popular enough to make up that $200 million right away and move forward with the election. Michelle Obama, maybe. But we talked about earlier in another chat why she very unlikely will run. Something they did not talk about earlier with Michelle Obama is Tucker Carlson did an interview with a guy, and I'm just going to leave it there. Look up Tucker Carlson interview Obama lover. No way they're going to allow that to be put back out because they ignored that story. They ignored Tucker's interview, and it was a graphic interview about Barack Obama and a man that he was with. That and all the Michael stuff is why Michelle's not going to run. And if she does, I'd be very, very surprised. But if she does, she's going to throw Obama completely under the bus. It's the only way to move forward and save face. Anyway, I just said some stuff that people are probably like, what did he just say? Maybe I'll do a full live on that, and I'll invite Al W up because I told him I need to talk to him because I know all about everything he was saying earlier. I'd be in these weeds. But only Biden and only Kamala can use the more than $200 million now that they have in the war chest. It cannot be transferred. Therefore, she has to be on that ticket. Will she step aside for anybody else? No, there's no reason for her to. She is now the most powerful Democrat in the world. In the country. I guess there's no Democrats everywhere else. But she's the most powerful woman in the world right now, and she holds all the cards. She's pretending to be loyal to Biden because she knows if he doesn't make it, she's in. She doesn't want them to convince him to step down. That would allow them some kind of wiggle room to try to get somebody else in. No one's going to take her spot. There's no way she's going to step aside to Newsom. She already worked for him in California. Why would she allow him to be her boss again when she's the vice president and she's next in line? Not going to happen. They got to stop with the conspiracy theories because it's just, I can't imagine them wanting to lose over $200 million just to stuff Gavin Newsom in with all of his flaws. And he's actually not even very popular. Nationwide, he's only polling around 30% of people that even know who he is, not even addressing the popularity of him.
And I think one of the arguments that get made, you have the most successful presidency of any president in modern history, maybe since Franklin Roosevelt. Passed more major legislation no one thought could get done. We're able to put together consensus. We're able to unite NATO. We're able to deal in foreign policy. Why don't you just decide to rest on those laurels? And the answer is because the job's not finished.
Do you feel like you've weathered the storm on this issue of whether you should be on the ticket or not?
Look, 14 million people voted for me to be the nominee in the Democratic Party. Okay?
Before they saw you.
I listened to them.
In your last TV interview, you were asked if you had watched the debate. Your answer was, I don't think so, no. Have you since seen it?
I've seen pieces of it. I've not watched the whole debate.
And the reason I ask, because I guess the question is, are you all on the same page? Are you seeing what they saw, which was moments of, frankly, that appeared to be, you appeared to be confused?
Lester, look, why don't you guys ever talk about the 28 lies he told?
You got mad.
Where are you on this? Why didn't the press ever talk about that? 28 times it's confirmed he lied in that debate.
Look how bad he is. He's not used to getting asked questions. Hey, wait a minute. Why are you asking me a question? What's going on, STG?
I had a bad night. I wasn't feeling well at all. And I had been, without it making it, I screwed up. But
I just asked the question because the idea that you may or may not have seen what some of these other folks have seen, you're not on the same.
I'd have to see. I was there. I'd have to see it. I was there. And by the way, seriously, you won't answer the question, but why didn't the press talk about all the lies he told?
Well,
I haven't heard anything about that.
We have reported many of the issues that came up during that debate.
No, you haven't.
We'll provide you with them.
God love you.
Okay. President Obama put out a statement after the debate, but should he and Michelle Obama be doing more to express their confidence in you?
No, they're helping me. They've helped me from the beginning. This is my job to get this done.
Have you talked to him recently about this?
I haven't talked to him in a couple weeks.
Have you talked to him since this issue came to light, since the debate?
I don't think, I may have. I don't think so.
Who do you listen to on deeply personal issues, like the decisions whether to stay in the race or not?
Me.
He's not going anywhere.
I've been doing this a long time. The idea that I'm the old guy, I am. I'm old. But I'm only 3 years older than Trump, number one.
But Trump is coherent. It's amazing, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it, Phoenix Rising?
And number two, my mental acuity's been pretty damn good. I've got more done than any president has in a long time in 3.5 years.
What did you just say?
Number one. And number two, my mental acuity's been pretty damn good. I've got more done than any president has in a long time in 3.5 years. So I'm willing to be judged on that. I understand why people say, God, he's 81 years old. Whoa, what's he going to be when he's 83 years old or 84 years old? It's a legitimate question to ask.
I want to ask you about, just shortly before you and I sat down, former President Trump named his vice presidential pick, J.D. Vance. What does that tell you, his qualities, what does that tell you about former President Trump's values in terms of who he will surround himself with in a next administration should he win?
Well, it's not unusual. He's going to surround himself with people who agree completely with him. Have a voting record, like support him.
J.D. Vance was an anti-Trumper. What is he talking about? He doesn't even know who he's going up against. J.D. Vance was a legit anti-Trumper. Like most of the Republican Party was. That's one of the reasons why I don't like the Republican Party, among other things. But he was an anti-Trumper. What is he talking about? Agree with his record and agree with everything. Like, he's just wrong or he's lying. I think he just doesn't. He has no idea who J.D. Vance is.
Even though if you go back and listen to the things that J.D. Vance said about Trump.
Well, he said some things about you, yeah.
Oh, no, well, he said something about me, but see what he said about Trump. What's with you guys? Come on, man. Look, the point I'm making is that J.D. Vance has adopted the same policies. No exceptions on abortion, making sure that he supports the new $5 trillion tax cut that Trump wants to give in the next administration. Signing on to the whole notion of whether or not we're going to, he says there's no climate change happening. I mean, he signed on to the Trump agenda, which he should if he's running with Trump.
Mr. Trump has said he's giving you a chance to redeem yourself, basically the idea of engaging in another debate.
We're going to have another debate.
Yeah, you're going to have one in September that's on the books. Would you be open to doing one in the next few weeks?
I'm going to debate him when we agreed to debate, and I'm going to debate him in September.
So, debating him in September means there's absolutely no way to replace Biden. He fully plans to go through. There will be no time. All the delegates will be applied, and it will be impossible to remove him, no matter what. Come September, it's either him or Kamala. Honestly, they've only got 3 weeks before their convention. He's not going anywhere. This is over.
But if the opportunity came up to do one between now and then, is there a sense of wanting to get back on the horse?
I'm on the horse. Where have you been? I've done 22 major events, met thousands of people, overwhelming crowds, a lot happening. I'm on the horse. What I'm doing is going out and demonstrating to the American people that I have command of all my faculties, that I don't need notes, I don't need teleprompter. I can go out and answer any questions at all. And I stood there when NATO was in town. I stood there for an hour and answered questions.
That's an accomplishment.
If you were to continue to run and be officially nominated, what happens if you have another episode like we saw during the debate?
Look at his face.
What happens if another?
Yeah, what happens if you have another performance on that on that level?
I don't plan on having another performance on that level.
All right.
What happens if you have a performance on that level? I don't plan to have something on that level. While he's asking him about his mental acuity.
Officially nominated. What happens if you have another episode like we saw during the debate?
Look at his face.
What happens if another?
Yeah, what happens if you have another performance on on that level?
Oh man, look at his face.
I don't plan on having another performance on that level.
All right. Mr. President, it's always good to talk to you, good to see you. Thank you for making some time.
Oh, this is so glorious. I'm telling you, I keep forgetting. There's a song called Glorious by this wrestler. I am thoroughly enjoying this because, and I'm not predicting a landslide or anything. I just know that this is what I've been waiting for. Man, since Obama won. I've always leaned to the right, but watching these people eat each other is phenomenal. The left they're up in arms and they're battling like Republicans always have. And I love it. I thoroughly enjoy this. But that is all I have. I appreciate everyone for stopping by. STG Designs. Let's see, first thing Biden did when he got in office was cut off unemployment. Yep, during the pandemic, while we were still shut down. He encouraged the mandates. He promoted I don't want to say that word, the jab. He promoted masking, and I think I don't want to say the number because I don't want to get it wrong, but he fired so many public employees, whether it be nurses, whether it be fire people, police officers, who would not get the jab. And the federal government lost a lawsuit and had to rehire all these people and give them all back pay. And then he turns around and says that Trump fumbled that demic time. It's pretty incredible because, again, it was all leftist governors who promoted mandates, all of them. Now, there were some right. I don't know. I don't know how long Georgia was, and Georgia was a Republican. I think they were a Republican state. Either way, I was in Texas, so we were out of it within 3 months, 4 months. We were back open. And hearing him talk about how Trump fumbled that time is wild. Because he ran with the jab, which was developed under Trump, and then he promoted the mandates, which Trump was fighting against the whole time. So very strange, very strange. But again, that's all I really had today. If you didn't see my live yesterday and the one the day before covering the assassination attempt, that's where I first played that video, and I actually did a little bit more. Actually, I did. I talked through it. Today I just replayed it because Kwame Brown was in the chat, which is pretty cool. So salute to Kwame Brown, Phoenix Rising, Jeffrey Williams. Awesome, awesome. Thank you guys for coming in. Clara Booker, as always, thank you for coming in. Biz 101 is the man, my brother. T-Hep 305, appreciate you being in here. Bolo was in here. Amber C was in here. I thank everybody. I really, really genuinely appreciate you guys coming in. I don't take it for granted. I really, really don't. You could be doing other things with your time. You don't have to be here listening to me yap. Hassan Tahir was in here. Thank you, Miss Kes Butterfly. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Yeah, that's all I really have. I'm going to do what I always do and put the content creators who I frequent. I'll put them in the chat. They're already in my description. Every live, I like to put these people up because I genuinely, genuinely enjoy their content. This young lady, I always say, is hilarious. She leans to the right also. Amazing content creator. Mel Dub, another one of my favorite content creators. He does a lot of shorts, mostly shorts. He's starting to do lives now, but I love him. I love the shorts because it's quick, to the point. He doesn't ramble on like I do most of the time. Biz 101, Hood Finance, awesome. He's helping a lot of people, more than I think they even realize, more than maybe he realizes. It's amazing. Man who is responsible for an entire sector on YouTube was just in here, which is, talk about an honor. That was amazing. Kwame Brown Bus Life, he doesn't need me to promote his channel, but if you don't follow him, you have to. That's his channel. Miss Akini, one of the more eloquent speakers in this corner of YouTube. Her content is always positive, always good. Love watching her. This gentleman is going to be one of the biggest YouTubers. He's the best reaction YouTuber there is. His name is Damn DPOV. He covers pop culture, hip hop. He has another channel. It's the Damn D Live News. Phenomenal content. That's the one he puts mostly his clips on. Again, outstanding. The dude is so talented, so talented. He should have 1 million subscribers. Like, he's legit that talented. Another brother of mine, always supports me. Vince the Sniper, great content creator. And then this gentleman hasn't gotten off his feet yet, but once he does, he's going to be huge also. He's amazing. He's hilarious. One of the funniest people I know. I've known him for 10 years. Phenomenal content creator. If you would like to bless, if you would like to provide a fresh wind, please support the channel. Anything is appreciated. Legitimately, just you guys being here is appreciated. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. I always come in on music. Yeah, Jay Powers is hilarious. I'm thinking on doing a live, Jeffrey Williams. I'm thinking on doing a live with women to talk about some of the things he said, because my wife had some issues. One of my daughters had some issues with him. Some of the women that were in the chat had some issues with him. And I think I want to discuss that. That dude is the best. He does not know how funny he is. Anyway, that's all I have. I'm going to go out today with Mad Lib, and it's a song called 24/7. Like I said, I come in with music, I leave with music. Biz 101, XRP, Bitcoin, Trump 2024.